We usually think of intelligence as something perfect, right? Flawless. But what if I told you the future of all intelligence, human, AI, you name it, actually depends on a bug, a beautiful, necessary error that's baked right into the system?
Just think about it for a second. Have you ever woken up from a crazy dream and tried to explain it to someone? You use all the words you can. You try to get the feeling right, the weird colors, the bizarre logic, but something always gets lost in translation. You just can't ever capture that full, rich experience. Why is that?
Okay, so here's a great way to picture the problem. Reality, the actual world out there, is like that incredible, infinitely detailed oil painting. It's continuous, it's nuanced, it's just packed with information. But our explanation, our language, well, that's more like the 8-bit pixel art version. I mean, you get the basic idea, sure, but the vast, vast majority of the detail is just gone. And this gets us right to the heart of a fundamental conflict. We're finite minds trying to navigate an infinitely complex world. So how do we make any sense of it at all, without our brains just completely short-circuiting? Well, the answer has this kind of technical-sounding name, quantization. But don't let the word scare you, it's actually something you do every single second of every day. It's basically your brain's strategy for taking that infinite oil painting of reality and compressing it down into a much smaller, more manageable file. It's lossy compression for reality itself.
And hey, this isn't just our little human trick. Any intelligent system, whether it's built out of carbon or silicon, has to do this. It has to simplify reality. If it didn't, it'd just be paralyzed, totally lost in an ocean of endless data. It's an absolutely fundamental survival strategy.
So what's our main tool for doing all this compression? Well, it's something we use so constantly that we barely even think about how limited it is. It's our language.
This isn't some newfangled idea. This ancient saying, yen bu jin yi, nails it perfectly. For literally thousands of years, people have understood that when you try to translate your thoughts, your feelings into words, something important gets lost. You're trying to force these continuous, analog feelings into these discrete, digital boxes we call words. And this whole process happens in the blink of an eye. First, you perceive the world, that continuous, high-fidelity signal. Then your brain immediately simplifies it, filtering out all the noise to focus on the key patterns. Next, it categorizes those patterns, lumping infinite shades of green into tree. And finally, it tokenizes it. It slaps on a label, the word tree itself. And the scale of this data loss, it's just staggering. The moment you say the word tree, you are compressing reality with absolutely brutal efficiency. We're talking about throwing away 99.999% of the information, the precise shape of every single leaf, the feel of the bark, the movement of every atom. It's an unbelievable act of simplification. Okay, but this is where the whole idea flips on its head. We tend to think of this loss of information, this error, as a weakness, right? A flaw in our thinking. But what if it's not a flaw at all? What if it's the very price you have to pay to be intelligent in the first place? Here's the crucial point, the big takeaway. That gap between reality and our description of it isn't a bug. It's a feature. It is the necessary sacrifice we make that allows us to think, to communicate, and to act without being totally paralyzed by infinite detail. And if you want to understand why this flaw is so incredibly important, we need to look at a classic philosophy puzzle. It brilliantly shows the danger of trying to be perfectly, flawlessly logical. So let me introduce you to Britain's ass. Now, obviously, this isn't a real donkey, it's a thought experiment. It's about a perfectly logical creature placed in a situation with two choices that are absolutely 100% identical. So because our donkey is perfectly rational, it analyzes the situation. The haystacks are identical in every single way. There is zero logical reason to choose the one on the left over the one on the right. And so, trapped in this infinite loop of flawless logic, unable to find any reason to break the tie, the donkey does nothing, and it starves to death. See, the donkey's curse was its perfection. What would have saved it? An error. A random whim, a subjective feeling, a good enough choice. A tiny little glitch in its perfect logic is what makes action possible. And this tells us something really profound. Things like bias, subjectivity, even randomness. There aren't flaws. They're essential survival skills. Now get this. This whole idea of adding a flaw on purpose to improve a system, it's not just some philosophical curiosity. It's a brilliant, real-deal engineering principle. It's called dither. In things like digital audio and photography,
Engineers will deliberately add a tiny amount of random noise to a signal before they compress it. It sounds completely backwards, right? But that extra noise actually makes the final result sound or look better.
And here's why it works. If you look on the left, without dither, the compression errors are really obvious and ugly. You get those harsh, jagged, blocky steps. But on the right, when you add just a little bit of that random noise, it breaks up those harsh patterns. The overall signal becomes smoother, more faithful to the original. You're basically trading one big, ugly error for thousands of tiny, unnoticeable ones.
So, what's our human version of dither? What's the good noise that we add to our own thinking? Well, it's all the stuff that breaks us out of that rigid, logical grid. It's humor, which plays with our expectations. It's intuition, that gut feeling that just defies pure reason. It's creativity, metaphor, daydreaming. These aren't distractions. They are our brain's way of adding good noise to the system to keep us from getting stuck, like that poor donkey. Okay, so what does this all mean for us? For our place in a world that is getting more and more dominated by artificial intelligence? Well, it leads to a pretty powerful conclusion. Let's break it down. You've got AI, the digital elite. Its worldview is discrete, logical, based on tokens. Its number one goal is to minimize and eliminate error. But then there's us, the analog masters. We live in a world of continuous signals, of nuance and ambiguity. For us, error isn't something to just get rid of. It's something to embrace as a source of creativity. AI is brilliant at processing the quantized world. Our job is to be the interface with the unquantized. Look, let's just be real for a second. We are never going to beat AI at its own game. It is the undisputed champion of the digital, logical worlds it lives in. Our future, our unique value, lies in mastering the messy, the unpredictable, the analog world, the very reality that AI can only ever see through a simplified, compressed lens. You could almost think of it like this. AI's job is to digitize the world, to turn everything into clean, manageable data. Our job is to defend its analog soul, to be the keepers of nuance, of creativity, and of all the beautiful, messy details that always get lost in translation. We are the bridge between those two worlds. So I'll leave you with this thought to chew on. As we build all these systems that are striving for logical perfection and zero error, could it be that our greatest, our most enduring, and our most human strength is the very thing we've always seen as a flaw? Our beautiful, essential, analog imperfection?